Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. I want you to set aside other distractions and just relax your mind and your body. Open your heart. Learn some new ideas that maybe you've never heard before because these ideas are not taught in school. I was a student of the late, great Bob Proctor, and he was my coach for several years before he passed away. And I've been reading from his book, It's Not About the Money. And yesterday I was reading the chapter, Money is Not the Goal. And I want to continue in that thread today because yesterday, if you missed the episode, you can catch it on my YouTube channel, Transformational Change with Susan McDonald. But yesterday I mentioned wealth is not about accumulation, it's about circulation. The only difference between you and a billionaire is a difference in mindset. The most important, believing is seeing. You must believe before you will see anything happen in your life. And money is not bad. So many of us grew up believing that it was evil, but it's not money that's evil, it's the love of money that's evil. If you're a kind, loving person, how much good can you do with more money? You could rebuild your church, you could contribute to a food bank, or you could build a system where people are no longer in want. What could you do with more money to help you create a wonderful world for yourself and those you love? Money is not bad, it only enhances who you already are. Bob Proctor tells us that creating wealth is about adding value. And you can visualize whatever you want to do, be, or have, and have it become your life. Removing negative thoughts from your mind and concentrating on the positive is one of the most valuable things I ever learned in my life, because focus on what you want for your life rather than worrying about your problems, because you cannot solve any problems in the same mindset that created them. Bob Proctor says, when we struggle or experience difficult and challenging episodes, we need to be reminded that the tough times in our lives are temporary. There will always be a tomorrow. As long as you're still breathing, you'll always have the chance to improve your life. Every day is a new opportunity to do exactly that. The perception that your life will be over or come to some horrifying end is only in your mind. It limits you and serves to keep you locked within what you currently know. Bob Proctor writes, the other idea I'd like to mention before we move on is this concept of reality. The reality that you live today is the manifestation of all your past efforts. This is what has produced your present results. However, think of the disclaimer you see on stocks and mutual funds. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Your future is open to infinite possibility. It is not dependent on the past. How you think today will determine the results you achieve from this point forward. The past has no bearing on it. Each decision you make and every thought you think are creating your future right now. Now is your chance to change that future for the better. When others talk to you about reality, often they're speaking of the concept they have of you in their own mind, their own reality. They also may be projecting their fears onto you, but those perceptions and those fears have nothing to do with your ability to create the life of your dreams. Though other people's comments and cautions may be well intended, they only slow you down. They convince you you are powerless. Listen to me. You are not powerless. Whatever your own past, whatever you've done, whatever you've achieved, and whatever opportunities you've missed along the way, you can change your life starting right now. The most important thing is your mindset and your desire to achieve the wealthy life of your dreams. The only reality that matters is the one you create in your mind, right here, right now, today. Now, some people might call this daydreaming. I'm willing to bet those people are not wealthy. They might be grinding it out and burnt out and telling you that hard work is the only way. But the truth is, visualizing lets your mind grab hold of possibilities. It trains your mind to the idea that your life is changing and that wealth is within your reach. Once you harness the power of your mind, it's not just within reach, it's inevitable. Bob Proctor used to say you are a triune human being. You are a spirit gifted with an intellect living in the physical body. You're not your body, you're not your mind. You are, there's a mind-body connection, and you are spirit expressing life. You're experiencing life through the physical body. Think of it as a container or the costume that you're wearing. Take a deep breath in and relax your body. Relax your central nervous system and allow some beautiful images of what you truly desire to come into your mind, and hold them there for a few moments, thinking about what it would be like to be living the life you desire. In the book, Money is Not the Goal, Bob Proctor writes, or it's not about the money. Some people are surprised to learn the wealthy spend much of their time just quietly thinking. Employees might watch their boss or CEO staring off into space. They might think he or she is doing nothing at all. In fact, that person is visualizing the next phase of their wealth and success, the next mountain to climb, and of course, they're watching themselves reach the top. They know that innovation and creativity, the next big thing that will take them and their company to the next level, is not found in mundane daily operations. That's why they have employees. The wealthy mindset has taught them that new ideas are the lifeblood of wealth, and visualizing them come to fruition is essential. How can you get where you're going if you haven't clearly decided what your destination is? When a wealthy person reaches their goal, it is exactly what they expected, precisely because through visualization, they've already been there. Would you get in the car and start driving when you're not sure where you're going? Of course not. You'd look at a map, chart your path, and then start on your way. But many, many people live their lives without that map and just take whatever comes along in their path in life. They work at jobs they hate and never imagine a better way. Many people accept the familiar simply because they have never taken the time to see past it. You must remember that visualization is a very positive exercise. It brings your dreams from your unconscious mind into a place where your conscious mind can connect to them. To do this effectively, you have to banish negative thoughts from your mind. This is easier said than done. Negative thinking is a bad habit practiced by far too many people. They like to complain about the state of their lives or careers, or commiserate with friends and colleagues about all of their various dissatisfactions. They become convinced that this kind of negative thinking is good. If expectations are kept low, you can never be disappointed. Bob Proctor writes, "Well, I think this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. How on earth did any of us reach the point where we convinced ourselves it was better not to dream? How on earth can you expect too much? Why would you scuttle your dreams and your goals before they even get off the ground?" Negative thinking has become a rule in our society. It is accepted and very widely practiced. So you have to make a serious and conscious effort to push these thoughts out of your mind. Be vigilant. Guard your mind from these thoughts. They can only slow you down and get in your way. Be ruthless in what kind of thoughts you allow to take hold in your mind. If you focus on the positive, great ideas spawned by your best positive creative energies, you'll get great results. But be careful. Monitor your internal dialogue closely, especially in terms of what other people tell you regarding money, finance, and wealth. Remember to seriously consider dismissing their thoughts if they have not achieved wealth themselves. If you gain wisdom from someone truly wealthy, open your mind to it and make it part of your internal dialogue. Even if you don't understand it or don't agree, keep it with you. After all, they've already traveled the road that you've just started on. You wouldn't drive off to points unknown without a map. These people are that map. They know the path. Treat their words as bricks in the yellow brick road. Be aware of your focus. If you say you want wealth, but you're constantly under attack from worry about how to pay your bills or make a mortgage payment, for example, you're not attracting wealth into your life. You're engaged in a mindset of lack. Worrying is negative goal setting. By dwelling on the bad things that could happen, you're telling your mind that it will happen. It's visualization in reverse. By worrying about what you don't have, you're not focusing on what you want. If you do that, wealth will never be yours. Now, I know worry is a hard thing to combat. We all worry to a degree. So how do we achieve this shift in focus? Bob Proctor writes, put yourself in this position for a moment. You're a secretary with a boss who demands that no errors be made ever. You may work under the threat that if you make a single mistake, you'll be fired. Where's your focus? Doing the best job you can, or trying your hardest not to make a mistake? If you're obsessed with the narrow task of not making a mistake, two things happen. First, the overall quality of your work suffers as paranoia stifles your creativity and your ability to think clearly. And secondly, you will find you're making more mistakes than you otherwise would because your mind is focused on errors. Now, if you take that same idea and think about how much time and energy you spend worrying about paying your bills, do you constantly track and add up the expenses? Do you spend time shuffling or rearranging what to pay when? Does it solve the problem of not having enough money? No, it doesn't. It zaps your creative energy and leaves no time or room to think about what will correct the problem, what will help you. It only brings more negative energy and frustration into your life. It's important that you make every effort to shift your focus from what you don't have to what you want to have. I can't say this enough. Focus on the positive. Visualize your new life. Remove negative thoughts and focus on the positive. By using these 3 techniques, you'll start to see your life change right now, today. They will give you a foundation to build on and a quick jump start to your new life. Wealth does not discriminate. It's available to everyone who wants it, including you. For many people, the revelation isn't in using these techniques. It's in understanding that they have the power and the right to change their own lives for the better. We got so used to struggling through life, accepting whatever circumstances come our way, that we never realize we have the power to choose our life. There is no reason and no excuse to settle for a life that makes you unhappy. If you don't have enough money or other elements in your life fall short of your desires, then you have to change your current mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. This means to shift from a victim mentality to one of responsibility and empowerment. Bob Proctor says, you do have control over your life. You have chosen to be where you are now. He says, believe me, that's good news. You may not like where you are right now, but now you know you have the power to change it. What if you feel relatively happy with where you are now and you just want to earn more money? Well, that's a great place to start. Wanting wealth does not mean you are ungrateful or unhappy with your life. It's okay to want to reach higher, even if you've already come to a place where your life has many good things in it. Our potential as humans is limitless. And in a perfect world, we're always trying to improve, to learn more, to know more, to achieve more. The problem arises when others see you striving for more and they read it incorrectly. They'll tell you striving comes from unhappiness. Be content with what you have, they'll say. This is exactly the kind of backwards logic that unsuccessful people use to feel better about why they're not achieving more. It implies that if you're not happy in your present circumstances or desire more from life, then there's something wrong with you. That makes no sense. It is human to strive, to seek, to pursue, to want more. That's the spiritual side of you wanting to express more life, more of every good. Making excuses to accept failure and encouraging other people to the same is a self-defense technique that I urge you not to fall prey to. The desire to drag others down with us is the least humane behavior of all. The danger in this type of logic is that it convinces people to deny their desires and accept their lives as they are and not pursue their dreams and desires. These wrong-headed excuses let everybody off the hook. They absolve us of responsibility by stating it's okay to be a failure. Stay down here with me, it's easier. But it's not. Denying your dreams and desires is the hardest path anyone could walk. Yet so many of us do it. Bob Proctor is telling us to be bold. Accepting responsibility for creating a new future also means that you must accept that you created your present life. And that's really difficult for many people. Bringing about a shift to a wealthy mindset is not easy. You have to accept that you have control over your life and that your choices up to this point have created the life that you've lived so far. If you had any thoughts while reading this paragraph that begins with, yes, but, he says, go back to the beginning of the chapter and read these pages again because you're not getting it. I don't say this to be harsh or mean. It's important to hear the truth. You have to listen, understand, and ultimately accept this as truth in order to achieve what you want to achieve in this life. I'll never tell you it's okay to blame anybody else. I can't tell you it's not your fault. I will never say you get a free pass because of things in your life that happened in the past. Please understand there is no yes, but to get what you want. You have the power to create vast wealth. You have built up your own prison of perception, but you alone have the power to break free. The human mind is the most powerful wealth creation tool that exists. Wealth allows you to be more generous. Bob Proctor shares his knowledge of wealth because he's used these concepts and achieved fantastic goals, and he knows that others can benefit from what he learned. And as you create your own wealth, you do the same for others. Share the path to wealth. The human mind is the most powerful creation tool that exists. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've done up until now. It doesn't even really matter what you currently think you're capable of. Every time you think of money and wealth, think of all the positives associated with them. Earlier in the chapter, what I read yesterday, Bob Proctor says, when you're visualizing wealth, you don't think about piles of money or a certain number in your bank account. You think of what it can do for you, the time and money freedom to create wonderful things, to help with research, to create ease and flow in the world, to cause others to be happier, healthier, wealthier. What would you do If you were really wealthy, how would it affect your life, your loved ones, a legacy that you leave? Maybe you would build a hospital or educate students to become better doctors. How would you change the world if you had more to give? Every time you think of money and wealth, think of all the positives associated with them. Through repetition, these positive thoughts will be impressed upon your subconscious. You'll feel very positive about money. You will attract opportunity like you never did before, and wealth will follow easily and quickly into your life. See what you want reflected in your daily decisions and your daily actions. When your thoughts concentrate on problems rather than solutions, you've slipped back into a negative thought pattern. Bob Proctor says, when I talk to anyone about changing their life, a common concern is risk. It's interesting that risk is seen as a concern. Wealthy individuals do not consider themselves to be taking any risk at all. In fact, what an average person might consider risk would not even be a passing concern to someone with a wealthy mindset. Young children are not born with any sort of risk aversion. This behavior is entirely learned. If they were concerned with risk, they would never learn to walk, run, or ride a bicycle. Think of the adventures you had as a child. How many involved risk? How many people do you know are afraid of flying in an airplane? There's always a few. If you ask them why, most will tell you they're afraid the plane will crash. Well, statistically, you have a much higher chance of dying behind the wheel of your car than in an airplane crash. Yet these same people don't think twice about driving. It's our perception of risk that limits our lives and causes stress and anxiety, even though their fear is largely unfounded. I encounter the same wrong-headed rationale when I talk to people about becoming wealthy. Fear of the what ifs clouds their judgment and shrinks their view of the possible. When we face uncertainty, it's easy to allow the fear to grow to irrational levels. The only way to combat this is to seriously think through the what ifs. Quickly, you'll realize they are minor inconveniences at most. You will survive. You will do at least as well as you are right now. And there is every expectation that you will succeed and do even better. The reality that you live today is the manifestation of all your past efforts. This is what has produced your present results. However, think of the disclaimer. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Your future is open to infinite possibility. It is not dependent on the past. How you think today will determine the results you achieve from this point forward. The past has no bearing on it. Each decision you make and every thought you think are creating your future right now. Now is your chance to change that future for the better. Use the techniques. Write down what it is that you desire. When you have a goal that you want more than anything, look at it as being devoted to that idea. And the risks you take will not even seem to be risks because you are so in love with what you want to be, what you want to do, what you want to have, that you don't let anyone talk you out of it. Write it down and spend a few minutes just getting into that state of being. Who are you now that you have this wish fulfilled? Write about it, think about it, daydream about it, and ideas will flow to you. And then when you take action on those beautiful, inspired ideas, your life will change like night and day. Create a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7. Thank you.